Hey all, here OS Reviews. Here in 2024, it's clear that AI and machine learning are the latest hype, as companies, including Google, even at the recent I.O., used AI more than 120 times during their press release conference. So today we're taking a look at an interesting product that will go on to crowdfunding soon. It's called the Chatmaster Cube, and it claims to provide the best of a large language model, in this particular instance powered by ChatGPT, in addition to a more conventional voice assistant, in this case leveraging Amazon's Alexa. So it's a combination of both kind of new and old, but promises to be the best of both worlds. For example, the conventional Alexa and Google Assistant, as we know it today, might be a little bit more polished when it comes to certain things like setting an alarm, as well as playing back your music, compared to ChatGPT, and the evolving large language models might be better if you're trying to get it to create something like a poem, or trying to search something for you up on the internet, or create a plan, something like that. So this is going to be interesting to see if this kind of fusion of models might make it perform better. So this is the actual Cube itself, which you can think of as an alternative to something like the Amazon Echo speakers, but of course in here with the ChatGPT aspect, it should be even more intelligent. There are microphones up top, which gives you some noise cancellation capabilities, picking up your voice even if you're further from the room and there's some chatter in the background. You can also find some conventional volume for the speakers, as well as muting the microphones for privacy, and otherwise we have kind of a 360 design for these speakers, so it should come out from all of these angles and hopefully provide clear output. You can also find some soft touch rubber feet at the bottom that prevents it from sliding around onto a table, as well as a Type-C port for power. Now, just like the Amazon Echo speakers though, this one does need to be connected to a power outlet at all times to be functional, or you can use a power bank when you're on the go. There is no built-in battery, however. Otherwise, it is fairly compact, and just as a quick size comparison, next to something like an average smartphone these days, which stretches north of 6 inches, 6.5 inches, you can tell that it is going to be still pretty small, like a can of soda on the desk. And you also get in the packaging just a USB Type-C cable, as well as a quick start guide. Specifications: it's technically using a quad-core processor. It looks like there is also a passive radiator for added bass, so hopefully it should also sound good enough for things like music playback for some added punch. And it claims that there are dual wake words, so you can switch between triggering the ChatGPT and Alexa. The trigger word for ChatGPT is called Sunny, so that's the name they provided for that particular assistant. And now plugging the speaker into power, you can tell there is an LED strip on the top that will glow and flash in different colors to correspond to if it's connected successfully. Right now we're in the pairing mode. On the companion app, which is also called Chatmaster Speaker, after creating an account, we can tap to add a device. It's found the corresponding Chatmaster there using Bluetooth that's turned on to our device, and it will proceed into Wi-Fi setup so that the speaker can be connected to the internet. Afterwards, we can tap on Next Step to select our current language. It looks like it also recognizes Japanese and Chinese, interestingly enough, so not only English for the voice assistant. It'll tell us to then get started, and we can then sign on in. And again, similar to other Alexa-enabled speakers, it'll be able to then finish connecting, and it will give you some examples of different things you can ask it, including weather information, briefing for news, as well as set a timer, alarm, things like that. And we are all set up and ready to go. So now we have the Chatmaster. We can see if there's any firmware updates available, and again, depending on if you have the microphone muted or not, you'll see that red ring appear if it is on the silent mode. And you can also change the volume up and down. You'll see the white LED ring here also start to change accordingly, going larger and smaller depending on if you have the volume higher or lower. What is the current weather in Seattle?
In Seattle, Washington, it's 71 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, you can look for just a few clouds in the sky.
Set a timer for 3 seconds.
3 seconds, starting now.
We can also give a quick example of how the ChatGPT part works. Now you'll see that during the setup flow, there is no additional kind of information that you have to register for connecting to ChatGPT. That part seems to be already built into the speaker. It's all ready to go once it is connected to the internet. So there's no separate profile to manage on the companion app. That's only necessary if you want to use the Alexa portion. Now you can also tap on the action key down below here once if you want to manually switch back and forth between the Amazon and OpenAI ChatGPT services by toggling there, or you can use the trigger word Sunny. Give me a quick summary of how the Amazon Alexa speakers evolved.
Amazon's Alexa speakers have evolved significantly since their introduction, 2014. The original Amazon Echo was a game changer. Set alarms, create to-do lists, stream podcasts, introducing voice interaction.
In Disney's animated film, what is the name of the cat that accompanies Pinocchio, and why does his nose grow longer when he lies?
In Disney's animated film Pinocchio, the name of the cat that accompanies Pinocchio is Figaro. Figaro is Geppetto's pet tuxedo cat and does not play a speaking role in assisting Pinocchio, but is more of a companion to Geppetto and Pinocchio, or lack thereof, showing emotions and reactions to the unfolding story. Pinocchio's nose grows longer whenever he tells a lie. This peculiar trait is a magical manifestation of his conscience. At the moment, it serves as a moral lesson within the story. Thus, the growing nose becomes both a challenge and a teaching tool for Pinocchio on his journey towards becoming human.
Create a 3-day itinerary for visiting Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, a city that dazzles with its neon lights and endless entertainment options, offers something for every type of traveler. Here's a 3-day itinerary to help you experience the best of Las Vegas. Day 1. The Strip and iconic attractions. Morning. Start your day with breakfast at one of the famous buffets. The Bellagio buffet is a popular choice with a variety of international cuisines. After breakfast, Wolfgang Puck, and consider a gondola ride for a truly Venetian experience in the heart of the desert.
Create a poem about the beauty of cherry blossoms falling and how short the season is.
Their petals soft, beneath a sky so vast and blue, where cherry blossoms blush and strew, a fleeting hue, a whisper in the springtime dew, each bloom a brushstroke, light and bold on canvas vast, oft retold of beauty brief, in grasp can't hold. They dance upon the gentle breeze in ballets high, with graceful ease, a flurry white, the eye to please, a moment's joy, our hearts to seize. But as the dawn turns into dusk and petals fall, in pinks and gold, a tale is ancient, a fragrant musk, the season's breath, a fleeting husk in time's swift river. They recall that life, though sweet, fleet and brisk, so cherry blossoms softly fall, in silent showers, can't have it all, for beauty's peak precedes the pall. For though the blossoms fade away, and branches bare greet skies of gray, the memories in hearts will stay, till next year's bloom.
Alright, so that gives us a good idea of how that functionality works. At the end of the day, though, this is still a voice-based AI assistant. So keep that in mind. It doesn't have a built-in camera. It's not really able to see the surroundings, to translate a document, for example, in front of it or make sense of it. And one thing I would like to see would be some type of integration with their companion app that perhaps preserves a copy of all the responses that you're saying and also the replies on the phone. So you have a text-based version as well that you can reference in the future. At the moment, it doesn't seem to be available. It's only there for connecting to your Amazon account if you want to use the Alexa part, and that is more or less it. So kind of a transcription copy of the responses would have been a really neat idea, I think. Perhaps could be in a future software update. But all in all, really not bad, and the voice that they're using for the ChatGPT side is surprisingly quite convincing and human-like, including some of the breathing and punctuation is not as bad as I thought it would be. In fact, it doesn't really sound robotic at all, very similar to Alexa and Siri, in fact. So not bad, considering that the, again, original ChatGPT is only for typing things in, and they basically added their own voice. And in particular, you can tell how Alexa is just a little bit better at some of those timer as well as alarm and things like controlling home appliances. It's also going to be a touch faster as well, since it's programmed to work with those specific queries compared to ChatGPT that's generating something new, but takes usually about a couple of seconds longer in that test. But overall, not bad. So I do really like the idea, and I think they are onto something here, which is by combining these two essentially language models, one which might be a little bit more conventional but faster to respond to, again, simpler tasks, versus one which is more meant for curation as well as creating something new. You can also ask it to teach you something, whether it's coding or if you're not clear about instructions, just guiding it using those more advanced queries via ChatGPT into this one consolidated speaker that also packs surprisingly pretty good volume. In regards to the ChatGPT side, the company claims in the future it might also be open to developers that may want to use other APIs, potentially allowing you to connect other tiers of ChatGPT if you want even more personalization as a developer. And I will mention that one con here, at least at the moment, is if you are wanting to use the highest kind of ChatGPT 4.0 model that this device is based on, it seems like you are currently capped around 4 hours of free usage. And so if you want to go beyond that, like, you may have to purchase another kind of monthly or perhaps yearly subscription plan to unlock even higher hours of usage with that more premium ChatGPT subscription. So it's not too different from, again, just getting ChatGPT and a more premium model yourself in that regard, but it comes with a more robust voice input and recognition capability compared to having to type everything in and not being able to speak back at you. It feels a little bit more human here, but there still is a little bit more of that razor and blade model of a subscription cost that is tied in compared to, again, the Alexa part as well as Google Assistant, which is going to be completely free just because of those APIs not really charging additional costs to use their service. So that is one thing to keep in mind, since they are still leveraging ChatGPT behind the scenes. So perhaps it would be nice to consider some type of maybe lifetime payment model up front. It doesn't require subscription, but again, in the base model, which is going to be kind of the most cost effective, the unit itself selling for sub $100. If you are trying to use it for, again, longer hours, do expect some type of kind of freemium model. So whether that's worthwhile or not, just keep it in the back of your mind. But again, still an interesting idea nonetheless. And this just combining, again, the best of both worlds, kind of a new AI model versus something slightly older into this one unified smart speaker. So you can check out more details if you're interested in learning more. Again, in kind of a trend that we're starting to see of more and more AI-based products that are available on the market, many of them powered by ChatGPT. This is another example of one. Again, claiming to be the world's first dual AI smart home assistant speaker. That has been the Chatmaster Cube. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.